It's January 8th, 2013, and I'm talking to Ed Gage.
All right.
So, where are we, and what are you talking about today?
Oh, well, just talking about they just came back from viewing the scene, the jury, of course, and just waiting for things to get rolling inside. It's been tough, you know. So what do? We just keep going, and hopefully we'll come to the end soon.
Hopefully. Now listen, so you're here for the trial too. You're here for the retrial of Charles Wilhite, and we're both wanting T-shirts, so we'll get those.
Oh, we didn't get
but
any on?
so sometimes I think about Ed and Vera as really being the people who elicited the power of the community. And I wonder if either of you have any thoughts about that, because retrials are pretty infrequent. And so I give you and Vera a lot of credit for doing the mobilizing of people. Now I know, this is a community effort, but I wonder what you think about that.
Yeah, no, I think that's absolutely true. They came to the law school, so they did a whole talk at the law school, so they got students from there involved, which they should be anyway, more involved with what's going on in the community, particularly legal things that are happening in the community. So they've started a whole conversation over there. That spurred me to write an article in our school paper for that, so by that, reaching out in that way is to spread that in that area as well. So yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I was trying to talk about you all to some folks who didn't know anything about the case, and when there's a popular film from a couple of years ago on the power of community that was about the community gardens in Cuba. But I think about what you all have done to really mobilize the power of this community to both expand it and to deepen it. And I wonder what you have, any thoughts you have, Ed, about that. And we'll bring this lad in too.
Well, this lad happens to be one of the main motivators. I mean, one of our main guys that really to energize our group. I mean, Dan and Holly, it's amazing the way they just come in. This is what we're gonna do. And even if I'm feeling a little rusty, we always got other guys. So it's not just Vera and myself.
No.
It's everyone. It's the community that was formed from the beginning. And it's a movement that, it needs more people to keep it going. And Dan is one of the major guys that energize our guys to keep going.
Yeah, so let me check in with Dan. Dan, before you got here, I was saying that I think what Ed and Vera have done we've really been the catalyst for really mobilizing the power of the community and expanding and deepening the community. What's your role been in all of this?
Well, I like to think of myself as a soldier.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. But I try to do what I'm told, but I generally have my own ideas and try to impose that on others.
And did you say try to impose or try not to impose? Try
to impose that on others. It's a mixed thing. I try to maintain humility, but then there's always things that I want to get done.
So how did the Charles Wilhite case spark something in you? What was that?
For me, it was the family, just how committed the family was, how organized the family was. There are so many other people like Charles, and it's, we want to build a movement that somehow brings justice for all of them, but the fact that Charles had such a supportive family to begin with, that were ready to do whatever it took to win justice, that was what inspired me. I was like, this case this is going somewhere. We're going to win this, and so that's what inspired me to really kind of put my energy behind it.
So it's both winning this for Charles's sake and his family, but also for all the other people. When you noted that there are lots of people in a similar position, I am so fortunate right now. I'm standing here talking to Dan, the community organizer, to Ed, the uncle, and to our wonderful student, the law student, who has mobilized the law students at Western New England College. And so, I mean, this is the three of you are a powerhouse, huh?
Oh,
Yeah.
Together we can do it. You know, there's no, I mean, without division, we can do it together. We work together well, and that's what is getting this exposure for Charles and for residents of Springfield. It's important because Charles's case can set an example for what should happen when someone is wrongfully convicted, when the evidence in the case is ignored, placed by, you know, all types of problematic issues throughout this whole case, and hopefully justice will be done.
Yeah. So what's happening? So you've tried to inspire other students at the law school. What's happening there at the law school as a result of your bringing Charles Wilhite's case to them?
Well, I have to thank them. It was their idea to come in, so thank you. Because it's law students need to know what's going on in the community, and sometimes we can get too lost in our little world. So a number of students have come to a couple of these court events, and I know are planning to in the future. And we hope to continue that, and I hope that the Justice for Charles campaign will come back to the law school and talk again, and hopefully get more people coming out.
Yeah.
We had 6 folks from the law school here yesterday in support of Charles. And
6?
Yeah, and there's more coming that have already signed up on our little survey. We have the Facebook group, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to come. But if you sign the survey, that really means you're going to come. And we've had a few people from the law school that have signed up on that, and that's really great. It means a lot.
So today yesterday the jury was chosen. Today they went to see the scene of the crime.
Yes.
And any ideas about where we're going from here?
I guess first opening remarks are going to be coming up shortly, and of course you're going to have more people coming with their version of what happened. Even if they weren't there, somehow they have a story that the Commonwealth is allowing them to come with. I mean, even with recanted Nathan Perez, they want to use what he said in the first trial, which convicted Charles. But that kid said from his heart that was not the right thing. He didn't want to do it. He was pushed to do it, and now he knows it's wrong and he doesn't want to do it. And they're searching for the person that may have threatened him. I wonder where they're going to come from. You don't think it was a private investigator? I don't know. Like, who would you be looking for? Because they overlooked who he said did it. They're looking for somebody else. So the person that he said threatened him, they're not concerned with that. They're concerned with whoever this mystery person is. And so, hopefully by him telling the truth, he can live with himself. And this will come to a head soon, because I don't know how long the LIE is going to stand.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the most interesting things about this is the witness recanting. That almost never happens.
Right. Never happens.
Yeah.
And the fact that family members of Berto Rodriguez, who was murdered, were here asking Dan and folks from our groups for shirts. They wanted to be in solidarity, knowing that, Charles, it doesn't add up, and they know it, and that's why they're here in support of him, hoping that justice will be done.
They recognize that the reconviction of an innocent man doesn't bring justice to Berto, and we understand that the reconviction of an innocent man doesn't bring justice to Berto or Charles or to anyone.
Yes. Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm waiting for what's the next step, because eventually, it has to come to the light. Right now, Charles might not have his freedom, but he's a bright young man. The light is certainly shining on him. I mean, because with inside, he is a light. All he knows is that the truth has to come out. And how long can the lie last is what he asked me. Like, how long will they get away with it? In fact, he's thinking, and he knows now that it's unfair. And I think the attorneys have to know that something is going on.
Yes.
When with 2 recantments, they're still going on their original statements. They want to go on what was said before they recanted.
Yes.
Even Giselle Albella, they want to use what she said at the grand jury, but that's the time she was threatened. But they want to continue to use that. And it's sad because, if the truth is not going to set him free, what we have to do? What do we have to do? We don't have the resources. There's no money to support him, for the attorney that will get up there and say, this is bullshit. You got the wrong guy.
Right.
The attorneys that are here, they got to live to see another day. They live here.
Yes.
So they have to stay. I'm thinking it's a high-profile case. Why didn't the district attorney take it? Make you wonder. But you get a guy that's new from another county to come here to do the dirty work. And then, he doesn't have to offend any of his neighbors because his neighbors don't live here. They're not going to hear about this.
So is that the prosecutor is not from...
No, he's from Worcester County.
He's from Worcester County.
I don't know if he bought a new home and living here now, but I don't think he has to go back home and hear about this Charles Wilhite case at night. So we have to get Associated Press to pick it up and take it back to his community so they can know what's going on. Because folks need to know what's going on right now. It's just not fair. But this is the Commonwealth. They get a do-over. And Charles has to sit there to hope that there's not another conviction with false witnesses and people that aren't being truthful. You know what I mean? It's just sad. So hopefully it'll all come to the light. The one that knows is the one that should know. And so how far does it go?
So what do you all think? What those of you who have been involved with this case since before? What do you think the most useful things other people who are not family, who are not part of this intimate community can do to further justice for Charles and for everybody else who's been unjustly accused?
Well, it's like we were on the Bill Newman show, and like he said, problem is he's innocent. So you need more privileged people to stand up to say that. I can say it as an uncle, but it's going to take a community that is paying attention to stand up and say, this isn't right, this is wrong, and we're going to stand here and observe to make sure that, justice is done.
So you've got this esteemed lawyer, Bill Newman,
yes,
who agrees, and you've got students from the law school and faculty. Very good.
Yeah. And so many other people in the community that really can't, put themselves out there, but they know, because all you got to do is pay attention and you see it and you know it. Charles happens to be my nephew, but I tell you, wrong is wrong. And hopefully they'll get it right.
We want to live in a country, in a city, where people aren't intimidated by the truth.
That's right. Just tell the truth.
Yeah.
The truth is not popular in all cases. Certainly this one.
Here, here. Okay, well, we'll go in. It looks like maybe they're reconvening.
Yes. So thank you, Paki, for giving us time on your airways. I know you reach a lot of people all over, all walks of life. I met a lot of people that look at the work that you guys are doing, and you yourself, traveling the world to really find out how to figure this thing out. And it's going to take more people like yourself to get the message.
Yeah, but when you start spreading the message, more people hear it.
Absolutely.
And get inspired to make the changes and to be courageous.
You carry it. As we put it out, you carry it.
Well, we do
a
what
step
we can.
further.
So listeners out there, heads up.
Thank you.
Okay, so would you just tell us your name?
My name is Gary Tardikoff.
And what are you doing here? Here we are. It's January 8th, and we are at the Superior Courtroom in Springfield, Massachusetts.
We're at the second trial of Charles Wilhite. It's a murder trial. Charles was convicted of murder and is serving a natural life sentence when the judge in the case granted a new trial and put aside the former verdict because all of the testimony the jury heard against Charles was retracted by each of the people who testified against him. There was no physical evidence. So he's gotten a second trial, and we're here for that now.
Here's a quick question for you. That's pretty extraordinary that these people recanted. How did that come about, Gary?
Let me get at it this way.
Okay.
Charles Wilhite is a poster person for the mass incarceration of African Americans. He was convicted in a case where there was no evidence except for evidence that was, according to the three people who testified against him, evidence coerced from them by the police. He was convicted for natural life of a crime that the only evidence against him was evidence by three individuals, each of whom said in court, I was coerced to say this by the police who wouldn't let me out of the room until they did this. So the judge in the case actually threw the case out. Charles is back. But this is the new Jim Crow. This is what it's about. We have 1 million black men locked up over cases that don't amount to much more than having marijuana. We've got vast numbers locked up, way out of proportion with their numbers in the population. And here's a young black man, young, he's 28 years old. He is serving a natural life sentence. He's already served over 1,000 days for a crime in which there was no evidence against him at all, except for three identifying people, each of whom backed off and said, two of them on the stand during the case itself said, no, I didn't really see him do it or see him do anything. One said I wasn't there. The second one said I saw a hoodie, lips, and a nose. I couldn't identify a person, but the police wouldn't let me out of the station until I agreed to a signature saying that I identified those lips and nose being Charles. The last one was a person who said, I saw him do it, and that person 4 months later came back into court, no longer having the grant of immunity he had for the first trial, came into court and said, I can't let a man go to jail for life because of a lie I told. I only said this because the police were pushing on me. I'm in jail. They've got me. They kept saying, he's the shooter. You know it. And I finally signed the papers, but no, he didn't do it. So Charles is now on the case. They're trying him for the second time. There's no evidence against him other than the first evidence that was there and one further person who didn't testify at the first trial but took the Fifth Amendment, who they say is going to testify this time. He's been in police custody all of that time. They're bringing him here to see. The only people against whom there actually is physical evidence, the man with the gunshot residue on his hands measured right after the murder, or the two men who picked up casings from the gun that did the murder at the scene. The two people who pick up the casings are the ones who are testifying against Charles. And the guy with the gunshot residue, he's been called as a witness now, but we haven't heard of him since. So all the evidence against Charles is walking while black.
End of day 2.
I'll be around in the morning.
Where's Gary? Gary?
Yeah, come on, Gary's. I've already talked to Gary.
Oh, you have?
Yes.
Okay.
So how was what were your
Thoughts?
impressions of today's trial? The trial today.
Yeah, I'm still struck by the fact that Charles is not being tried by a jury of his peers. So that's always in the back of my mind. Secondly, I think that all they've brought up so far in terms of evidence, nothing. That basically they have one person who says that she identifies lips, not even a full face. And the other witness that I heard doesn't seem to be credible, in my opinion. Already is saying that the shooter is 6'5".
And this is brand new. I mean, nobody's talked about this.
No, nobody's talked about this before.
What he was going to say.
No, they didn't know what he was going to say. I don't think they would have used him because he doesn't sound credible at all. So right now, I see they have nothing against Charles except his lips and his nose, and not even that. Also, the thing that I learned today, or I relearned, is it was dark that night. Dark. The person had on a hoodie, and the woman only could identify lips, and in the end she says she is not sure.
She didn't say she was not sure. She said, I cannot identify him.
No, she said I can't. Yeah, which is a little different than I heard it before. So for those reasons, I'm more hopeful than I was yesterday.
Okay, so we'll keep on.
We'll just keep on.
One thing I really thought was interesting about the whole trial, the detectives get statements. They're professionals who understand certain kind of technical language that is used in court, exclusively in court. The court is warning everybody in the jury, don't talk to anybody, you're going to decide based on what gets said in court. So the detectives get these statements, multiple statements, and then the DA tries to argue the person into meanings in the statements that clearly aren't there. But they've got amateurs making statements, like you or I would talk to a lawyer and say this or that, thinking it meant this or that. They know what it means, we don't. So they've got a thing they can manipulate terribly. And the district attorney here tried like mad to get this woman to change, to make what he wanted out of the statement. She kept saying, no, I couldn't identify him by that. I didn't even say that was his nose and lips. I just said those are the closest, of anybody on the list, I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it him? No, I didn't see him.
No, yeah, very clear. They spent most of the time, in my opinion, talking about or proving that there was a dead man and there was evidence because of the bullets. They must have had 20 photographs of a bullet wound, and I think probably that's partially drama, that they're showing that there was a murder, and look, it makes everybody wince to have that in their face, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's a day in court, 2 days in court. Whoa. It's hard work. It's tedious. Huh?
It's very
is,
tedious.
And you wonder how much they're doing this drama to try to prove we worked real hard. We got all these detectives, we got all these statements, but none of those people had anything to say about Charles' relation to the case. They just proved that Angel grabbed a gun, and somebody shot somebody a whole lot of times through the car, through the window, through the car, through the window. The glass was over here, but they're avoiding getting to. Is there any connection with Charles?
And there's no justice if you can convict somebody on what they brought up so far. There will be no justice done.
We've had the second day of the trial, Charles's retrial. What's your sense of how's it going?
We have more faith in justice this time because of all the work that we've been doing since Charles's conviction back in December of 2010. Now we have this. Now we have community. Now we have you. Now we have everybody. And all the work and energy that we've been putting into this work is incredible, including family. Okay, Junior. So it is amazing that people come in the morning, vigil with us, protest with us, rally with us, and stay on till the afternoon, and it's something that's very participatory, something that is very alive about this process, and it's incredible. And you were there with us through all our community events and organizing, and it's just been incredible hard work trying to get the truth out there, and that you cannot get away with convicting an innocent person, even in Springfield, even if that person, not for Charles, not this time, justice, this trial justice, this retrial, this time justice, justice now.
Absolutely.
And you and Ed have really been the catalyst for really bringing out the power of community. And so as part of that extended community, all I can say is thank you.
Thank you, and I want to say the groundwork was laid out by a lot of the activists in this Pioneer Valley in Western Mass. The infrastructure was there, and as a family, we reached out, we tapped in, and it has been a huge experience for us, and everybody is feeling good because this is what community organizing is about. This is community empowerment, community mobilization. This is power. This is people speaking truth to to power and saying just because you don't have money, just because you don't have a high school education, doesn't mean that police, the state can trample all over your rights. You still have rights because you have the people there with you. And once you get people behind you, you can have access to information, you can read up on things that they write, and you are no longer in hiding in your own home, feeling hopeless. You have power now.
No more victimization.
Exactly.
So Diane, you're here as a supporter of Charles Wilhite?
Yes, I am.
So do you want to tell me about how you got here?
Actually, I am a friend of Charles Wilhite's uncle, Malik Drungo, and his grandmother, Helen, and I definitely feel like there's been an injustice here. I don't feel like there's enough evidence to convict Charles, and I believe that he is innocent and he needs to be set free.
So you've been here for the trial every day?
Yes, I have.
And so you became aware of this whole case through...
About a year and a half ago through his uncle. I had been watching it via Facebook and listening to his uncle explain the case to me. I'm in school for human services and didn't really have an opportunity to come to the first trial. But since I'm on break from school and I really felt like this was an important human service issue as well as an injustice that I needed to be here.
Good. So do you think the judge or the jury are impressed with seeing all of us here?
I believe that they are. I really do believe that they are. I think that when you stand together, a community and a family and the world can do anything as long as you have support and backup. And I think that this is one of the most amazing things that I've ever seen.
So Michael, what brings you here to this trial?
Well, I know Ed and Vera, and when I got the facts about the travesty of justice here, I know it's important to have people in the observing, especially get some old white people with gray hair, because they're used to being able to operate without any accountability. And I'm outraged at what they're trying to accomplish here. The record of the Springfield police is pretty clear.
So I've been talking a lot about Ed and Vera really mobilizing and really getting in touch with the power of community and getting so many of us here. And you are really a testimony to that.
Yeah, I knew them from working on Milkar Shabaz's campaign for school committee. So that's where we met.
Fellow travelers from the free state of Amherst.
That's right.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to say anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay, thanks, Michael.
Sure.